Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pretend Problems podcast. I'm Kelsey Cook.
Hi, my name is Chad.
And I would like to start today's episode by giving you guys an update on a piece of advice we had received from one of you listeners. Somebody had written in and said, hey, if you're getting creepy people in the merch line, instead of feeling like people don't have an opportunity for a picture after a show, why don't you just take a picture with everybody on stage? Mm-hmm. I tried that in San Diego, and it was a complete disaster. It was so embarrassing. I ended my set and I held my phone up and said, okay, guys, I'll take a selfie with you like this. And then if you guys want to take a picture with me, let's bring the openers back out here. And here, you guys can take a picture with us. And I looked out as they turned the house lights on, and the front half of the comedy club was just sitting staring at me. They had zero interest in capturing that memory of the night.
God, that is such a kick in the dick.
It was so embarrassing. It was so humiliating. And I will say, it was a fucking great show. They were such a good crowd. We had so much fun with them. And it was such like a limp dick, not to trigger a past email we've also gotten, but it was like a bummer of a way to end the show. It was just like everything was great, and then I was like, oh, okay. And I said into the microphone, okay, well, that's the first and last time I'll ever do that. It was really bad. It was just very awkward because I never want to come off presumptuous like I think I know people want a picture with me. I know that there are a lot of people who leave the show who are like, yeah, we don't need a picture, but thanks for the great show. But a lot of people do come up and like want to take a picture. And so I feel bad now when I don't do the merch line afterward if people leave and feel like they didn't get a picture of the night. So I was just trying to offer that, but a lot of people...
Well, now you know that all the people that do want a picture sit in the back half of the room. So at least you know where they're seated.
It was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. So it was a nice, really nice thought on your part to the listener who wrote in and told me to try that.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when you think like someone wants something more and they don't. Like if someone like puts their shirt down in front of you and you go, oh, do you want me to sign that? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Why would I want you to write on my shirt? Like, okay, see ya.
Bye. Yeah. The listener had mentioned that Fortune Feimster does it.
Right.
And I know I opened for her once, and then a photographer came out and we turned and posed with the crowd behind us. And I think that's a fun moment. And people were very into that when I took the selfie with the crowd. But then to be like, okay, now you guys can take a selfie of you with us in the background, and people were not interested.
We're almost out of storage. No disrespect. But to up my cloud, it's going to be 99 cents more a month, and no thank you.
No thank you. Yeah, I just didn't think it through. Because also if you're like way in the back of the room and you try to do a selfie and get the performers on stage, we would look like ants. True. It wouldn't be a good picture. So anyway, live and learn. But yeah, you seemed to really enjoy it when I told you initially. And
I seem to really enjoy it every time I hear it.
Oh, yeah.
I just think it's funny, right? It's like I would much rather see a very funny comedian that I know eat shit on stage, because you're like, well, yeah, you can do that every single time. You can kill. Yeah. I don't want to watch the every single time show. I want to get the show that only this room is going to see. And that's like part of that's very funny.
Well, by the time this episode comes out, I think I will have posted this crowd interaction on social media. But one of those San Diego shows, you had a mega fan slash, I don't know if I'd call her a stalker.
Not a stalker, no.
She's in love with you.
She's in love with her husband and their 12 kids. They're Mormons.
She's in love with you.
They're from Salt Lake City. They're just big fans. They both are. And
she's in love with you.
But she is just more verbal about it. But they're both really nice, very, very great fans. And they've been to a couple different places. Sometimes they use it as like a mini vacation. Come see a show, and then they go get drunk and hump one another. I mean, that's like...
With your picture on the wall?
Yeah. No. Wow.
Yes.
Probably just trying their hardest not to get pregnant again.
Oh my gosh. I had never experienced anything like this. I started to do jokes about you, and she was kind of like having a bigger reaction, and like kind of, I think she was like elbowing her husband or something. And I was like, are you a fan of my boyfriend? And she was like, he's my favorite comedian. And then I think she could tell that was like maybe gonna hurt my feelings.
Sure.
And she's like, no, I mean, you're great too, but he's our favorite. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then she goes, he's so hot. He's so hot. He's really cute. And I was like, okay. And then I said in the microphone, I think this is the first time I've had somebody at my show who has made it abundantly clear they want to fuck my boyfriend.
I think that it was more of I would like to turn this into a girlfriend's chat situation.
Oh, like, yeah.
Then not like, I think he's hot, fuck you. I think she was like, oh my God,
He's so hot.
We are talking like this. We are having a girlfriend moment. That's what I think was happening.
I know, but it's funny. Like, you do that with a girlfriend talking about like Leo DiCaprio or something. It's weird when it's like you're doing
it with someone with an ugly person. Got it. Jesus Christ.
No.
Cut. Justin. Cut.
I am shut.
Check, please. Whatever I have to say to get this to stop.
Shut it. I am saying that you don't do it like that. Somebody wouldn't do it with Leo DiCaprio's girlfriend. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is, in order to have this conversation, it has to be someone beautiful, and that's fine. Everyone knows.
Yeah, it's not enough for me to even bring up.
So you're gonna have the clip out.
Shut up! I'm gonna smack you. Ugh. Okay. And all of this was happening with her husband sitting right next to her.
Yes.
And so I said at one point to him, like, how do you feel about this? And she goes, and then he goes, I think that she's blocked on IG, or I think he has a restraining order against her. And then I said, oh yeah, are you blocked? And she goes, no, he responds. And I went, my face. I took my hoop earrings out. People went crazy. They were ready for like the Jerry cameras to come in. And so what's going on there? Just
I've met her and her husband. I mean, I feel nothing. It's. I'll show you the messages.
Yeah, you will.
I don't even know. Actually, I don't even know if. I don't think we've messaged. I think that I respond to her comments after she's seen a show. Mm-hmm. She'll put a comment there, and I respond to that.
Yeah,
I would bet you there aren't actual messages.
I trust you.
I know you do, but I'm just telling you. Like I also trust myself and to make a judgment call. Now, if there was a woman that came to shows like that by herself without her husband, or like, I have a boyfriend, even if she said, I have a boyfriend, this is like a woman who's been married for a very long time with, I'm telling you, I think a bunch of kids.
Yeah, a litter.
Maybe 6.
Okay.
But anyways,
I'm sure she listens to this podcast. This must be very funny for her.
They're just really nice. They're just really nice. So I don't ever feel any sort of like awkwardness. But I will say that if a woman comes up to me after show and goes, oh, my boyfriend, blah, 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 I'm still not.
Right.
That's still like one of these hands up, don't shoot situations for me. Because a boyfriend, I mean, I hate to say it because I am one, but doesn't really mean shit in the grand scheme of things.
That is not what my stalkers need to hear.
Well, listen, that doesn't matter. But
Chad is very.
No. I didn't mean. I'm sorry. Let me take a step back. I don't mean from like someone else's doesn't mean shit. Like then you get to pounce. What I'm talking about is sometimes people will say, "Oh, I have a significant other, not married," and then it kind of to them it doesn't mean.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're saying not it. It means something to you, but you're saying it might not mean.
It definitely means something to me.
Right.
What I'm saying is, it might not mean. I mean, we've all seen it where it's like, I have a boyfriend. 2 beers later, it's like, well, he's not that great of a boyfriend. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. I have a boyfriend, but he's not here. Yeah. Chad goes. You're like extra cautious about anything that could be perceived as uncomfortable. Like we'll talk about this later in the episode. We taped an episode of After Midnight together on CBS, and the third panelist with us was Milana from the AT&T commercials. Who was, oh my God, loved meeting her. She was so sweet,
She was really
so
nice.
funny. And she was like, here, let's take a picture. And you put your arm like around her, but you were like as if
It didn't
you were a
touch her.
phantom. Like you didn't actually.
I didn't put my arm down, and then my hand was closed. Because I'm just not interested. Like, I don't know if she wants my arm draping on her. I don't know how heavy my arm is. I don't know
Right.
what that feels like to have my own arm on me.
Yeah.
There are times where younger women will come through the meet and greet line and want pictures, and I will always ask. I go, "Are arms okay, or do you just want to stand here?"
Yeah.
So,
that's so nice.
I just don't want to. I am in the creepy old man age range, and I just don't want to make anyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just proceed with caution.
It's nice. It made me laugh to see the final photo. If you go to my Instagram, I posted the pictures today, and you could just see Chad's arm like fist bumping nothing. I mean, you look like a mannequin. You're like, it's so funny.
It's so it is funny because we were talking about this before. Like my confidence level and my attitude basically on stage is very assertive, aggressive, and I can be like that off stage. But on stage, it's like, licking my fingers. Who wants it? And then all of a sudden off stage, I'm like, is our arms okay? Is everyone okay with my arms on you?
Yeah.
Just because on stage it's just me and everyone feels safe. They're far enough back. But I don't know. I just don't want to make anyone feel creeped out.
Yeah. That's really nice. It just makes
It's
it
also probably extra creepy.
funny picture.
Yeah, I know. What's his arm doing?
Lego arm, yeah.
Is he like Phantom from when he had a cast on?
Yeah. That made me laugh. Before we keep talking, let's plug some tour dates real quick.
Okay.
So I am going to be performing in Tacoma this weekend. The early shows are sold out. I'm so excited.
Yep.
This was the club I was a house MC at like a decade ago.
That's awesome.
So to go back, headline, and have shows be selling out early is such a great feeling. So get some last minute tickets for Tacoma while you still can. And then I will be in Philly, where my Jello Wrestling billboard is up. I will be in New Jersey, and then I will be in Stamford, Connecticut. Those are all my February ones. And then in March, I'm in San Francisco, Chicago, Rosemont, Minneapolis, and then I shoot my special in Madison in April. And there's like Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Vegas, a bunch of ones coming up. So kelseycook.com for tickets.
Okay. And I am going to be this weekend in Oklahoma City. Let me see if I can see these things.
We have a
calendar up on the wall. Well, I'm going to be in Key West in February, the 8th through the 10th. Then 16th, 17th, I'm no big deal. And then I take off to Houston. Is that right? Houston and Dallas. I'm going to be in Houston and Dallas at the end of February. Then March 2nd, I'm going to be in St. Paul at the Fitzgerald Theater. And I'm going to be filming a special there. And then I have 2 weeks off because the boy's getting married in Mexico. So I'm going down there. We are. And then I come back and I can't see that far. So anyways, I'll let you know later. But go to chaddaniels.com and you can look for yourself.
Yeah. You have some dried something on your sweatshirt.
Yeah, great.
We're real, guys. We roll in as we are with ranch
This
crust.
is also how I take pictures. It's just, I show you my stuff and then I take a picture.
Yeah. So we just got back from a trip to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, we shot an episode of After Midnight.
Very fun.
One of my best friends, Taylor Tomlinson, is the new late night host on
She's
CBS.
very good at it.
She's fucking so good at it.
Yep.
I told her it seems like you've been doing this for a decade.
Yeah.
Just like effortless, so funny. So it's basically like a reboot of At Midnight, which used to be on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
So it's three people competing with like the local, whatever topical news stuff.
Yeah, it's basically games of what's going on the internet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And spoiler alert, Chad won.
I did. I'm undefeated.
Because you did At Midnight.
I did it when
years
I was
ago.
on Comedy Central, and I won there too. No big deal.
God. That was devastating to have you in. I was like, this is the last thing we need in our relationship is
I know.
another victory for you over me.
Yeah, but if it's the last thing we need, then there's going to be a bunch of last things we need. Sorry.
What does that mean?
I like to win. I'm not going to just stop winning.
I know. I like that you win.
Yeah, it was really fun. And by the way, it's like this game that doesn't mean anything and the points are made up and everything is made up. And so if you win, it's like Bob's your uncle. Right? It's like, it means nothing.
Yeah, but you were so funny on it. You had some really, really funny lines.
I think we were all, I mean, it was just a fun, they set you up for success, first of all. Mm-hmm. I mean, they give you just an opportunity to be funny and take big swings.
Yeah.
And I think everybody did. And I thought it was really fun. And I was kind of hoping to be done. I wanted you and Milana to be the finalists because that's how we were setting it up the whole time. And I thought it was very funny that we were setting it up for me to go. And so I thought it would have been great.
Yeah.
But
well, you're just too damn funny.
No, I just think it's like silly. I don't know what happened. I'm assuming the president of CBS is a man. The host is a woman, but the president of CBS is a man. So they made them make me win.
Do you want to talk about your joke that you thought was going to get cut and people's reaction online to it?
Oh, sure. So I said it was Ron DeSantis. He like tweeted something out. And it was a Winston Churchill quote, but it was just misquoted. Everyone made it so political. Everyone is misquoted. Like there's so many things that people say, like Mark Twain, and it's not right.
Right.
And so you have to dig online to find out these things aren't right. And so anyways, of course someone did because it's politics and you want to burn down everybody's house politically. And so he was taking shit for that. And so then the thing was, it's like, okay, misquote someone from history.
Right.
And so I said, did I do that? And I said, Osama bin Laden. Now, I know that is absolutely absurd. I know 9/11 is a huge tragedy. I know all of that stuff. But I was just like, let's see what CBS does with this.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what they did. They clipped it, then they put it on Instagram, and oof.
Yeah, not only did they not cut it from the show, they highlighted it by making it a clip.
Yeah.
And people had some thoughts.
Tim Allen's manager reached out and said, bad choice. You've just given a lot of people, millions of people a reason to dislike you. And I sent him a message that said, you need me for Santa Claus 7. So watch yourself. I thought it was very funny to send him that message.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wait, you're not just saying this for a bit?
No.
Oh my
I said,
God.
I go, you're going to need me for Santa Claus 7 because Tim Allen's aging out of that Santa Claus thing. And it's like, hey.
You want your Santa Claus money.
Absolutely.
Now, he had left what he said as a comment, not a message. So did you
Correct.
DM him?
I did. Because I didn't want to just leave it out there. I hate arguing with people online or whatever, like in the comments.
On the forum. Okay.
Yeah.
So you took it. You're like, let's take it outside.
Yeah, well, let's just not take it outside, but let's take this to a private forum because I'm very serious about Santa Claus 7.
Did he respond?
No.
Of course not.
It's not even, hasn't been read. It has not been seen.
Oh my God, that's so funny. We're so different. I mean, it's fun on this podcast. I think we're so similar in so many ways. And then things like that where, I mean, again, just the confrontational stuff couldn't pay me enough to respond.
Well, it's just silly.
Right.
It's just silliness is all it is. Like the fact that you would reach out and say it's like millions, tens of millions. Nobody wants to hear a 9/11 joke.
Right. But don't you think that when people troll, you responding is the number one thing they want? And the thing that's most devastating to those people is to be unseen?
I do. However, when it comes to like reels and I was just told by my social media person that I should engage trolls to get the comments up, to put it into the, excuse my language, motherfucking algorithm.
That is such advice exclusively for male comics and
Yeah, I know.
not for, I mean, we have the person that you use for social media stuff. I also have
Right.
helped me with certain things. And he had given me that advice as well. And I'm like, you are trying to get me straight up murdered
Yeah.
on the road to engage with some of these men.
And he may be trying to get me murdered too, because I've had some issues with him and I've questioned some things, and maybe he's like, "Oh, fuck you, dude. Here's what you need to do.
Get in there.
Here's what you need to do. Put some nails in your yard, upside down, spiky side up, and then roll off your roof and see if you can just stop right on the end." That's his advice.
Oh, Lord. Well, how did we even get to this?
I can't remember. What were we talking about?
Oh, after midnight and trolls and stuff like that. Anyway, it was very fun to do. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I feel like I've said the word devastating about 3 times already this episode, and we're like 20 minutes in. So devastating might become my new energy.
You do have a devastating energy today.
I'm going to stop saying devastated or devastating, just at least for the rest of this episode. We need a break from that word.
We'll see. I'll see what I can do, you guys.
No, it's not a challenge. And then I just have to give a quick shout out. If you are a listener of the podcast and you came out to my show at the Comedy Store in LA, it was one of the best nights of my entire life. And I mean, I wish I could just replicate that crowd for the special taping in April, because they could not have been any better.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really good show.
Thank you. Yeah, Chad was there. It was really fun to have him in the room. There was an old man who sat up front who seemed to threaten me with his cane at one point before getting kicked out. That was terrifying. He said, "I have a cane and I know how to use it." And I said, "Yeah, against me?" And he said, "No." And I was like, "Okay, I don't."
I think he was just trying to be cute and funny and try to be part of it. But sometimes, it goes to a point where you're like, well, what the fuck's going to happen here? I'm about to get impaled.
Well, yeah, I had said a joke about something being $38 a day. And then he just goes, "Motel 6. Me in a room at Motel 6, $38. And I said, why doesn't it surprise me that you know the exact rate of a Motel 6 room? Because he was clearly, I don't know, going through something. And then he was like, "Bagel, pizza," just like offered me his food. And that was like really early into the set, like 3 minutes in.
Yeah, it was very early.
And and then the cane thing happened, and then he got kicked out. So
Comedy Store, their security is like, somebody said something into a little lapel mic and was like, "Hey, this guy's not done talking yet." And 6 security guards came in, and this woman went up and very gently and discreetly tapped him on the shoulders like, "I need to talk to you back here." She took a step away from the front to get out of the way, and then he walked out, and they just walked out with him. And I heard the conversation, and the voices were never raised.
Wow.
It was just like, "Hey, you're in front. You're causing a commotion. Everyone's here to see her. You have to leave." And he was like, "Okay, well, I was just trying to do that." "No, we get it, but we need you to leave." And then he walked away, and they came back in. And
well, yeah,
it was well done.
For something like that to happen in the front row, and I had no idea that he had even been kicked out, is huge props to the Comedy Store for doing that so professionally, because that is not usually how that would go. So, but listen, they've got like the fucking biggest comics in the world there. I'm sure they've got the kind of security that is like used to being careful with that stuff. Yeah. So anyway, lots of fun stuff lately. Mm-hmm. It's been good. So before we get into this week's listener emails, I wanted to share one of them really quickly because it's funny about this. It's titled Feedback, and it says, "Hello, I'm a fan of the podcast. You did more listener questions this week because of some feedback you received. I'd like to say that I personally enjoyed the life part of the podcast more than the listener question part. Thank you for your consideration. Have a good day." Well, thank you. I mean, I am glad when people say they do like our, like the front part of the podcast where it's us talking and catching up.
Yeah.
So.
And then we also got a bunch of messages about me maybe not wearing socks. Like a lot of people like my feet.
Wow. We get more emails than anything about you losing the comfort pillow.
Well, listen.
Oh my gosh, look at how flat your stomach is, please.
Stop. But I like it.
Ugh.
But look at this. This was given to me as a gift by a fan.
Your stomach is completely flat.
I understand that, but I just like it because I don't know where else to put my hands unless I do this. I enjoy it. It's not. I'm not hiding anything.
All right. Well, here's a good lesson. Here's a good listener advice lesson to impart: is pick your battles. That is a pretend problem for me to try to remove that pillow from him.
I mean, it really is. It's like comfort because I can I don't have to hold it up like you are the whole time. My shoulders get tired. You know how many pictures I take with my arm off of people? It's like I finally can, it's just me.
I know. It is truly the top topic of conversation on YouTube, though. Of like our YouTube comments are always about the status of your pillow. And our cat is licking a headphone, but that's fine. Okay, so here's what I have gained from that email is that we're not going to be able to make everybody happy. Some people are going to enjoy the questions more. Some people are going to enjoy the life part more. I think we'll just keep it, I don't know, 50-50-ish.
It's hard to make everybody happy, right? Because you think about this country politically, half of the people want to vote for a really old white guy and the other half want to vote for a really old white guy. So it's super hard. Super hard to make everyone happy because someone's going to vote for the wrong old white guy. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Let's fix the system. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm freaking out. It's getting close.
Maybe you could run and really mix it up.
Yeah, I don't know. Dig up my past. That'll be the end.
I was just joking because you're also an old white guy.
I'm not that old.
I know. That's why it was a joke.
If I got elected president, people would be like, look at this young. It's like when I got my hip done. Yeah. I walk in, they're like, wow, what are you doing here? Picking up your grandpa? I'm like, no, got a hip. Got to change out my hip. And they're like, no, you? Fuck, sometimes I just go back there.
Just for the compliments.
Yeah, just be like, hey guys, I'm back. Well, got a hip done 4 years ago.
The woman in the front row of my San Diego show would love to be your campaign manager. She would do great PR for you. He's so hot. He's so funny.
It'd be nice.
So cute.
Nice if someone would. What do we got for the first question?
It's literally all I say to him all day long is how hot and funny and cute he is.
Sorry, I'll get my glasses on.
Oh, yeah. Put your glasses. Speaking of hot, put your glasses on.
I'll put them on when it's my turn to read.
Ugh. Fine. Okay.
I only need them for reading. So if I sit here, I'm going to barf.
Oh, because it makes you sick?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew that it like really is that disorienting to you.
Yeah, it's like everything else gets really blurry except for what's right in front of me.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, guys, if you want us to give you our advice, you can write into pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com. You guys are sending us such good emails.
I was surprised. I really thought it was going to be just buffoonery. And it is, they are some really well thought out questions.
Yeah.
And like actual, people are going through some shit.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting us to try to help you. That's so nice.
It is very nice, but also it's a lot of pressure. So let's lighten it up a little bit.
No.
I'm teasing.
Okay. We're starting out pretty intense, guys.
Yep.
This is titled, I Think I Need to Break Up with My Girlfriend.
Oh my God. Okay. I can see that it's a paragraph.
It's not that long.
Okay. But I'm like, this kind of makes me.
Okay. They say, hi, Kelsey and Chad. I love the podcast and your energy, in quotation marks. Thank you. I'm so glad somebody does. I struggle with severe depression, and I think my relationship is making it worse. I really care about her, but we've been very distant and argumentative, and it's affecting every aspect of my life. I'm not sleeping well, and I have to wake up super early for work, so that's also affected. I feel like we're very different from who we were in the beginning as well. I don't know how to go about ending things, especially since, at least from my perspective, she acts like we're fine, even though we've had long talks about the way I feel about us. Unfortunately, it usually ends up feeling like I'm in the wrong for feeling this way. It's all scary and confusing, and I've never been in a situation like this, so I don't want to make the wrong decision just because of the way my brain works. Maybe that's just how it has to be, though. I have no idea, LOL. Sent from the middle of somewhere.
Oh. Well, it doesn't seem like you're really LOLing, by the way.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. This is tough.
This does not seem like a great situation to have to navigate.
I jotted some thoughts down. I'm trying to be more prepared for your guys' emails. and have some thoughts ahead of time so that it's not just like on the fly, because you guys are sending us these really thoughtful things, and I don't want it to just be like, well, here's what I'm thinking off the cuff.
Yeah, and I like to hear them while I'm sitting here on the couch.
Yeah.
That way, I don't give them a lot of thought because I think I'll mess them up. I think your best bet with me is just hearing me dive in and my first thought.
It's like the SATs. Shooter. Okay.
Like the SATs. Always go with your first thought.
Okay. Here are my thoughts on it. I am wondering, because you're saying you're feeling very confused and you're not sure how much these other aspects of your life are affecting potentially your feelings and your relationship. I'm wondering if you could maybe break that down into a percentage, like chicken or the egg wise. You know, like, do you feel like a lot of this is stemming from going through depression, not sleeping well, and then it's kind of exacerbating the relationship issues? Or do you feel like the relationship issues are then making your depression more intense, making it harder to sleep? I don't know if that's helpful to think of it that way, but I'm curious if you would be able to imagine, like, okay, if I wasn't depressed, if I was getting a full night's sleep, how would I feel about my relationship? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. It is tough because you don't know if it's what's happening inside your head chemically that's giving you these negative thoughts, or if these are negative thoughts. I will also say some people are a fucking drag. Some people aren't fun. And if you are on the cusp of, in depression, and one of those people enters your life, it's like, it can be not fun.
Right.
So maybe with depression, it's harder to trust your instincts. But if you think you need to break up with someone, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I think if your thought is, should I break up with this person? Yes. Because because I don't ask myself that question until it's time.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I don't feel like everybody thinks that particular way though.
I'm giving my...
Yeah, that's true.
My thing. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what you should do. But I'm saying my thing is, if I'm depressed and someone enters my life and that gets worse, then I think we know the problem.
Right. I wish that we knew a little more information in terms of like how long you've been together and how long you've been struggling with depression. And like if there is any correlation between those two things, if they are completely independent, and that no matter what relationship you're in, there might be hardships because of how you are currently feeling. Or if this isn't the right relationship for you. And I know you're saying like that you don't want to make the wrong decision just because of the way your brain works. Do you think it could be helpful to, like, if you guys took a break? I feel like that's always a very controversial thing to do, is to take a break. I think,
I don't know about that. Next thing you know, you got a 27-page letter written on both sides. It's a Ross and Rachel reference, but I will say, I think a change has to be made.
Yeah.
In something. Maybe it's not her. Right? Is this person? Do they sign it? Maybe it's not your partner, but maybe it's something. You're going to need to make a change because right now you sound not unhappy. So maybe you could try to make changes that are not your partner and see if that helps. And then if it doesn't, if you've tried like 3 or 4 different things and you're still not happy, then I think you know the answer.
Yeah, I had suggested the break thing as a like, maybe that would give you some clarity to really feel what your life might be like without that person. But again, I feel like sometimes that can create a false, like, oh, I miss them. And it's like...
It can also create a false, this is fucking awesome. Because you're doing new things. Right. You're going out without them. Maybe you take a trip. Like, your life's going to feel incredible. But then a year later, you're still doing those things. And now are you missing them?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of bad information in that you receive inside of a break.
Yeah, that's true. I think that it's never going to be black and white. I think maybe it's like a percentage thing. If you feel like without this person in your life, you would be happier than with them in it, or maybe it's flipped that you are happier with them in your life than without. But when you're saying you feel like it's very different from the beginning, maybe also you could write down some of the things that you loved about them in the beginning, and like, do you still love those things? Are there new things that you love? Or, you know, just like trying to get back to, why did you fall in love with this person? And are there things there that you feel like are still really important and valuable to you? So, yeah, we're sorry you're going through that, though.
Good luck. And it doesn't say anything about how you're dealing with depression, but, you know, I would suggest helping yourself out in the mental health area as much as you can.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Do you want to put your glasses on?
Sure.
Show the people?
They've seen it.
Have
I
they?
had them on an ad once.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I love them.
Long distance in Washington. Hey, Kelsey and Chad. I love the show. I've been a longtime fan of Chad. My girlfriend and it says, and I'm quickly becoming a fan of Kelsey. How could you not? My girlfriend and I are in a long distance relationship. And since that's how you guys started, I'd love to get some tips on how to make it work. To start, we are very happy with our situation, but we both would love to be closer. When we met, I lived in Spokane area, and she was on the west side of Washington. So not terribly far. That's a drive. A few weeks after we met, I had to make an unexpected move to follow my 9-year-old son back to California, where I'm from. Worded correctly, because if you flip those words, all of a sudden your son thinks he was unexpected. Even though we'd only been dating a few weeks and had only had a handful of in-person meets, we decided that we wanted to continue the relationship. Well, that's good. That seems like it's good. Now, that was 7 months ago, and we've made an effort each month to see each other at least once, sometimes twice. My question is, how do we, the relationship going long-term? How do we keep the relationship going long-term? To be clear, neither of us has any plans of leaving or any negative feelings about the relationship. This is just preemptive. Thanks so much for the content and thoughts. I wish you the best with the podcast. Derek. I don't care if you use my name.
Well, what's up, Derek?
Thank you, Derek, for writing in.
Yeah.
First of all, really respect you as a father. Going home and taking care of your business that comes first. Good for you, because your son is going to remember that for the rest of his life, that you picked handling your business over a new relationship, because some people don't do that.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. So I have some tips based on our relationship. Okay. So Chad and I did start long distance, and then we still have like a part-time long distance relationship because we have to go on tour almost every week, and we're gone for like half the week a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So I think when you are living apart, it's super important to have a light at the end of the tunnel. And I can't remember if I've mentioned that before on the podcast, but in general, if you want the relationship to keep going, eventually you are going to want to live in the same place. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to start talking about, you know, when you feel like it's appropriate, to have a conversation about what that would look like and when you both would feel comfortable with that happening. I think it's one of those things that's better to talk about like before you guys start to get stressed. It sounds like you're in a good place in the long distance, mm-hmm. but I do think it's one of those things that the more you fall in love, the more it's like, fuck, this really sucks to be apart. And I think it's nice to get a plan in place before you're at like a critical, like, oh my God, this is really negatively impacting us. So just trying to get a plan, and then trying to do as many things as you can when you're apart that can connect you. So Chad and I, when we're on the road, have started to try to FaceTime while we watch one of our favorite shows. Mm-hmm. And it's so nice. Yep. Yeah, because that's something we really love to do together when we're home, is to watch our favorite shows. And when we're apart, it's so like disruptive to our typical routine. Like, not only are we not getting to spend time together, but we don't get to do the things that we like to do together. So if you can watch a show together, watch a movie together, if you can cook together, I think we can't really do it because we're on the road. Mm-hmm. But if you are like in houses or apartments, whatever, and you could both pick a recipe and then cook it while you're on FaceTime and then eat over FaceTime, I think that's a cool way to do it that can close the gap a little bit. And then we've mentioned on here the game We're Not Really Strangers. Any of those like card-based games where you can ask interesting questions to get to know your partner a little bit better, I think stuff like that can really make like a long distance date night feel more exciting than just a typical catch-up call.
Sure. And I think while a plan is a good idea, I think you should start asking important questions because when Kelsey and I started dating, my daughter was about to go to college. And so my responsibility as far as hands-on daily, responsibilities of raising a child were kind of done. I mean, you have a 9-year-old, so yours aren't done for a while. So you might want to find out, does this person, would they be willing to move to where you live? Or how that would work. Can you move somewhere away from your child and then make sure you're back enough to feel good about that? I don't know any of those answers. I just want to throw that out there. I also, a handwritten note goes a long way. So if you're at her place, if you could hide a bunch of those and then once in a while when you're on the phone, say, hey, check here. Because it does feel like the person is there more than a text or an email or something like that. Like getting a handwritten note is pretty slick. So it sucks. But if you can make it work, I mean, obviously right now with what I read, it sounds like it's worth it. So I would just keep on keeping on, but I would ask a couple of those questions before it gets out of hand.
Yeah. Chad is really good at the handwritten note thing. And there are times where I go on the road and I open my suitcase and Chad has snuck in like a sweet card or like a little love letter. And it's just the best to open my suitcase and then feel like you're there with me and, wherever the fuck I am.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
It's really nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. This is titled Podcast Question, and it says, for Chad, what is your advice for dating in your 40s? I'm mid-40s, divorced, teenage son, and dating is just brutal.
Well, this is a little different for me. Like, I've never been on an app, and I've never kind of dated. I mean, I guess maybe a little bit, but I just kind of waited until I ran into someone that showed signs they were interested. I mean, like I never went to a bar to pick people up. That's just kind of not who I am. And the app thing, I mean, there's just no way I'm doing that. And I'm not judging it. I'm judging myself for not knowing how to do it. I would end up in a fucking lawsuit or something. So, I would say with a teenage son, I mean, so my kind of rule is no rotating revolving door. Don't be bringing home all these randos. I understand wanting to like get out and feel appreciated and make out, you know what I'm saying? But I would say probably not bringing them home all the time. And then I don't know, man. I don't know what you do. Are you a church guy? Can you meet someone at church? Are you into big friend gatherings? Could you meet someone there? Because I think dating, just from what I've heard from everyone, kind of sucks until you find the right one. So at least you haven't found the right one and skipped them. That's good.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry I don't have a ton of advice, only because how I did things, they were so non-traditional, I think. I just kind of waited for someone. Like I get a lot of shit because she's younger than me from women that are at shows and they'll be like, how old's your girlfriend? And I'll tell them and they'll go, oh, just another man doing this. Like no one my age hit it on me the entire time. So I don't know what you want me to do, but I kind of sit back and wait for someone to hit on me because I have a very hard time bringing the heat.
Yeah. The first time I met Chad, I thought he not only was not interested in me, but maybe just didn't even like me as a person.
Well, I mean,
That's how
obviously I did like her as a person, but
how stone-faced.
we were also both in relationships.
Right.
So it's like,
You were the physical embodiment of the weird fist bump arm around somebody in a picture. You were just like so.
I was trying to be respectful to 4 different people.
Right.
So.
Right. But again, it's like you go that extreme length where then you're just like, hi. Mm-hmm. Like you're just like the London Palace guards.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Yes. So yeah, I remember that first. I mean, we shot Wrists of Fury, which was so fun, and like the taping itself was so fun.
Right.
But then, like, as soon as we were done wrapping, I was just no emotion, could not. Yeah, it was just like, oh, I don't think he even likes me as a person.
Well, yeah, I just don't really know where the line is on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
No, you're being very respectful, and
Right.
it was nice. This is why you have a neighbor who asks to be your friends, because people are like, does this guy fucking hate me? I don't know.
Well, that's that. So anyways, to wrap it up, that's how I date. The woman has to come knock on my door and tell me she's interested, or I would never leave my home.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, aren't there some, like, not dating apps, but more like an actual web, like, maybe I'm dating myself, like Match.com. Aren't there some dating sites that are a little maybe more geared to somebody in their 40s who like has kids, who it's like less of that like Hinge, Tinder energy. It's more like really filling out a questionnaire, I think, of like, this is what I'm looking for, as opposed to like something like Tinder feels more like a hookup thing.
Yeah, I think Tinder is, but what's the one where the woman has to ask you a question first?
Bumble.
So maybe Bumble.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is mid-40s, divorced, 2 children, and had was very successful on Bumble. And I don't mean successful like numbers wise. I mean found someone great.
Pussy King.
So yeah, so maybe Bumble.
Yeah, check out Bumble for sure. Okay, we're going to end today's episode with, I think, a very interesting email. So this is titled, Happy But Horny Husband. They say, good evening. So formal. Good evening.
It should be opening French doors. Good evening.
Good evening. I have a unique problem. My wife and I have a great, wonderful relationship, minus one thing. We hardly ever have sex anymore. In the beginning, we did a lot, and then it went up and down. We moved across the country a year ago, and that was big, so I assumed that to be the cause, but my wife dated mostly women before me, and I'm slightly afraid she may be losing sexual attraction to me. We typically are pretty open and honest with each other, but it also feels like a touchy subject. Not sure what to do or how to bring it up and be respectful. Again, this girl is my soulmate, and if she said no more sex, I wouldn't leave her for it. I just don't know how to figure it all out. Sorry for the chaos, sneaking this email, and wanted to fit as many details as possible in short order. Well, thank you for reaching out to us for this. My initial reaction was, I know that this is a really touchy, tough topic to bring up with your partner, but I do think nothing good will come from not talking about it.
Yeah, that was going to be my exact advice. I understand it might be sensitive, but you have to bring it up. And if they're if they're uncomfortable, I mean, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying if someone's uncomfortable having a conversation, normally there's a reason. Now, I'm not saying it's other people. I'm saying it could be how they're feeling about this move. It could be maybe they've got some questions about your relationship, whatever it is. But you still have to break that wall down and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, because I think as soon as you start making assumptions, like where you're saying, I'm slightly afraid she may be losing sexual attraction to me, that's such a slippery slope that you might not need to go down at all. Like maybe that's not at all the case, but you won't know unless you talk to her.
Right. And I will tell you, once you start thinking your partner's not attracted to you, every single thing that happens that could be that, you are going to take it as that. So I would say take a step back and try not to think that way until you've had the conversation. Right. Because please trust me.
Please trust him.
Every single thing that happens that fits that narrative, you will grab it and you will put it in the pile. And it could be something completely different. So I'm just telling you, for your sanity, look at me. Look at me, please. For your sanity, take a step back and don't start thinking that until she tells you that's what it is. Mm-hmm. What are you smiling at? This is completely different.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that if, depending on how your conversation goes, but if any part of it is just a feeling of like that things have become too routine, because you're saying that you used to have more, more sex in the beginning, which I do think is very common, kind of that like honeymoon phase. I think part of what you're describing is, I mean, I don't want to say that it's every single couple, but I do feel like that is incredibly common to, in the beginning, you're having a ton of sex, and then like as their relationship progresses, once you're living together, life does kind of balance out into a little bit more of like a normal.
Yeah, but this isn't normal. He's saying it's like almost non-existent.
Okay.
So
right.
there's has to be something. And
okay.
It could be something going on with her body. It could be something going on, whatever. But I'm just saying this doesn't seem like balance. This seems like it was Fuck City, USA, and now it is not a ton's happening.
Not happening. Yeah. I was going to say, if you guys do want to try like infusing some newness, when I was on, it's so weird to say it in past tense because I recently stepped away from my previous podcast, Self-Helpless, which was so wonderful. I was with it for 7 years. It was time to move on from it. But we had an incredible guest on, she goes by Ask Goody on Instagram. You should follow her. She's amazing. But she's like a sex expert and gives all these great tips. And we had an episode with her where she was speaking to couples who have been together for a while who are experiencing potential, staleness in the relationship. And she gave tips like, try having sex at a different time of the day than you usually do. She's like, a lot of couples tend to have sex at like the same time of day. Sure. When they do it. They're either like morning sex people or night sex people. She's like, try having sex at a completely different time of the day. Like, just do things that you wouldn't typically do. She's like, try toys if you haven't tried toys. She's like, you don't have to have like a full-on vacation to have vacation sex. She's like, look up hotels in your area and they will offer day rates for like business people coming to town or people who want to fuck. Yeah. But you can like rent a hotel room for, I think, like an hourly rate during the day, and it's way less expensive if you and your partner wanted to do like a, hey, let's go have crazy hotel sex that we don't have to clean up the sheets. It's just, anyway, if you want to go check out that episode, she was super helpful. And yeah, keep us posted if you want. For anybody who writes into us, we always love to know, what happened and the situation you're referring to. We've already had some people respond and say like, oh man, thanks for talking about it on the show.
I'm a big where are they now guy.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear
where are you now?
What's happening in a month or 2 months. Also, thanks to all the people that wrote in sleep tips. I have not read any of them. I just found out about them earlier today, but I will be looking at them and I really appreciate that.
Yes, they're all compiled for Chad. I have read them and some of them are so helpful. So thank you for taking the time to read them. And yeah, I think you should check it out.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Again, pretendproblemspodcast@gmail.com if you've got a question for us that you think we can try and take a crack at. But other than that, share the show around. Please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and review and see us on the road. And we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye.